you are no longer going to be just a spectator. Now you're becoming a player. And yes, you cannot leave the field because you have to play. Are you part of the problem or the solution? This is a question that we need to be asking ourselves on a day-to-day basis. Am I part of the problem or can I be part of the solution? So I want to share with you a thought that I learned from Joseph. Joseph was one of the 12 tribes. And I want to share with you his story. So Joseph, he had a difficult childhood. At a very young age, he was orphaned by his mother. As a teenager, his brothers abandoned him. He was one of the 12 tribes, but his brothers abandoned him into a pit for death. He was eventually sold into slavery. And then, an innocent young man, he was accused of immorality with the wife of Potiphar. And then eventually he was sent to prison. He languished 12 years in an underground Egyptian prison. Together with him were 2 other prisoners, notably Pharaoh's butler and Pharaoh's baker. As recorded in the Bible, the amazing story, how one morning the butler and the baker woke up in the morning and Joseph took a look at them. And those are one of those defining moments in life. You could choose to mind your own business, or you could go out of your own comfort zone and do something extraordinary. And this is what Joseph did. After spending 12 years languishing in this horrific, terrible underground Egyptian prison, he saw these 2 individuals, that they were downtrodden. He went over to them, he took initiative, and he asked them, "Why are you so downtrodden? Why are you depressed today?" Well, one could only imagine languishing in prison, anyone would be depressed. But Joseph went out of his way to really inquire sincerely. And Joseph did not know and did not realize, by this one act, by this initiative, he changed world history, at least for the Jewish people. And I'll share with you how. After Joseph took this initiative, they answered him. First, the butler said, "I had a dream last night that I cannot figure out. And if you could just help me interpret it, I'll be so grateful." And Joseph says, "Yeah, share it with me." And the butler shares with him that in his dream he saw 3 grapevines and how the grapes ripened, and that he, the butler, went and took from these grapevines the grapes, and I squeezed them, and I produced amazing wine, and I poured it into the goblet of Pharaoh. That was my dream, and I don't know what to make of it. So Joseph says, "I think I know exactly what's going on. I'll interpret it for you." And he told them that the 3 grapevines represents that in 3 days, Pharaoh is going to free you from this prison, and he is going to reinstate you into your position as his personal butler. Oh, he was so thrilled. And he said, "Joseph, when I get out, I'm not going to forget you." Then the baker turns to Joseph and says, "I too had a dream last night, and I just cannot figure it out." And the baker says that my dream was that I was standing still, and there are 3 baskets of bread on my head, and the birds were nipping away and eating away on the bread that was in my basket. I don't know what to make of it. Joseph says, "I know exactly what's going on, and I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but your dream is foretelling that in 3 days, Pharaoh is going to free you from here, but he's not going to let you live. That eventually you're going to be decapitated, and the birds are going to be picking on your flesh." Such sad news, but that is exactly what happened. 3 days later, they were both freed, and the butler was reinstated, and the baker was put to death. So comes to ask the question, how did Joseph know who was going to live and who's going to die? What possible hint did Joseph get to know that the butler is going to survive and the baker will not? What gave it? How did Joseph know that? The explanation was so clear and so inspiring. What Joseph saw is what life is truly all about. The butler, when he saw the 3 grapevines, he took initiative. He got into the game. He took the grapes and he squeezed them and he filtered them and he turned them into wine enough for Pharaoh. He did something. He made something happen, and Pharaoh was pleased with that. Versus the baker. The baker didn't show any activity whatsoever. Totally passive. He stood there and he didn't do anything. The birds came and ate up the Pharaoh's food, and he didn't do a thing. Squat, nada, zilch. Living through the experience in a very passive way. That's how Joseph knew. That is not living. That is not life. And that's why Pharaoh is going to end your life. Because in life, we need to be a participant. We are here on this world together to take action, just like the butler did. And when we take action, good things happen because you are exercising your abilities that God put us on this world. God put us on this world not just to take from this world, but to give to the world, to become an active participant, to make things happen. In life, there are 3 types of people. One group make things happen, another group watch things happen, and the other group don't even know that it happened. So ask yourself the question, are you active or are you passive? Are you part of the problem? Are you part of the solution? That is a question we need to ask each other every single day. Today, I'm going to become part of this solution. Today, I'm going to do something positive. Today, I'm going to get involved. I'm going to make things happen. I'm not just going to wake up and go to sleep and just be a spectator watching everything happen in front of me. Versus you become an active participant in creation. Always remember that the day you were born, God said the world can no longer exist without you. Which means that God handpicked you, gave you his soul, and gave you a mission that you should be an active participant in this world so that you can make a difference. So you could be the upbeat one, the positive one, the optimist, the kind one, the generous one, the sweet one, the warm one, the happy one, the joyous one, the forgiving one, the accepting one, the non-judgmental one, the non-gossip one. Yes, that could be you. That's being active. That's being a participant in life. There was once a 13-year-old who was going to have his bar mitzvah. Now, in the Jewish world, when a boy turns 13 years old, you become an adult, a full-blown adult. For all means and purposes in Jewish law, you don't wait till 18 or 21 years old, but at 13 years old, you are an adult. A girl becomes an adult at 12 years old. So here is a young boy who is turning 13 years old and getting ready for his big bar mitzvah celebration. His parents took him to see a great rabbi, the great Rabbi. And he goes into the office and the rabbi asks him, "Do you enjoy baseball?" And he was taken, says, "Wow, this great rabbi, he was the world Jewish leader. And he's asking me about baseball? I thought he was going to test me about the Bible, about Torah. He's asking me about baseball." I said, "Sure, I'm a Dodger fan." Those days, the Dodgers was right here in Brooklyn. So the rabbi asks him, "Well, do you go to the games?" He says, "Absolutely. I was just there recently at a game." He says, "How did the game go?" He says, "Up until the 5th inning, things were fine. But then things went downhill from there. So my dad and I just got up and left." So the rabbi looks at him and says, "You left at the 5th inning?" "Yeah, there was nothing to stay for." He says, what about the players? Did they also leave? And the child says, no, Rabbi, they can't leave. They have to play till the 9th inning, no matter what. They are the players. I'm the spectator. And the rabbi said, that is what a bar mitzvah is all about. You are no longer going to be just a spectator. You're no longer just a child. Now you're becoming a player. Now you're going to be in the field. Now you are going to be the player that everyone else is going to watch. And yes, you cannot leave the field because you have to play. God put you in this world to play. You are going from the little league to the big league. And that is the lesson I want you to know about what bar mitzvah is all about, what it means becoming an adult. What it means is that now you are going to become a player in the big league. Now you are an active participant, no longer a spectator. How true is this for us as we go through our journey in life? How often are we complacent, apathetic, and we just don't pay attention to what's happening? We just go in our own, we stay in our own lane, as they say, and we just do what's good for us, but we don't care or bother what's happening around us. That's a spectator. That is part of the problem. Now it's time to become part of the solution. Now it's time for you and I to become a big player, the big leagues, and realize and recognize that we have to do whatever we can to save humanity, to do whatever we can to help our fellow individual, and to become an activist and to make things happen. We're not just standing by and watching the world go by like a movie, but we need to be an active participant. When we were born, God told us the world can no longer exist without us. God gave us a soul, God gave us a body, and God gave us a mission. Our mission is to make this world a better place. And yes, we all have been given a certain task and a mission. And it's not to retrieve and to be a spectator, but it's for us to be an active participant and do whatever you can to help humanity. Do whatever you can to lift up the spirits of your fellow. Just think about it. When Joseph, languishing in prison after 12 years, took initiative by looking at two total strangers, seeing them downtrodden, and asking them, why are you sad today? Those are the words in the Bible. Those words, that act, that single act, changed history for all. Because what happened, he set things into motion in the most incredible way. So these two individuals, when they were freed, and Pharaoh had a dream, and Pharaoh couldn't find an interpreter, they remembered, because they forgot Joseph for a while. Now they remembered and they told Pharaoh, there's Joseph. Joseph comes out of prison. Pharaoh is impressed with his interpretation. Pharaoh appoints him to be the viceroy over Egypt, basically to take over the whole economy. Here Joseph went from zero to hero in no time. Not only was he able to save the world from hunger and famine, he was able to provide for his whole family. They all came. And the same brothers who abandoned him for death, he welcomed them, he forgave them, and he saved their lives. This whole chain reaction began through one action of being kind, being sensitive, being empathetic with your fellow person, even a total stranger. What a beautiful story of Joseph, and how we can learn from it, and we can emulate it, and we can live it, and realize that anything that comes by our attention is not by chance or by accident or by coincidence, but it's by divine providence. So if you are made aware of a situation that needs your intervention, that needs your help, become an active partner. Dive in. Or as they say, get in the game. Get back into the game. This is our game. This is our journey. We're all in this world together, and we all have a mission at hand to really do anything we can to make a difference. And do not underestimate your ability. That if God put you in a position, that means you have the ability to be able to actuate and do what's right. Be optimistic, be kind, be happy, be joyful, come of good spirited, greet people cheerfully, try to make peace amongst people, be forgiving, be accepting, don't be judgmental, and understand that we're all children of God. You do your best and God will do the rest. That when we exercise our talents that God has given us to its fullest, and we become active participants in the world, we're no longer spectators, we are activists, then you become part of this solution. And when you become part of the solution, not only are you going to feel so fulfilled that you got involved with a local charity, with a local organization, with your local synagogue, with your local house of worship, you're volunteering time, you're helping out those that are in need, you're visiting the sick, you're reaching out to others. All these good acts are acts of being involved, of making a difference. And please do not underestimate one good kindness of act. As Maimonides teaches us, always feel like you're on a balanced scale with the whole world. You add a fraction on one side of good, you tilt the scale. Your next action of goodness and kindness will tilt the scale for the whole world and for everyone for the best. God bless you. God loves you.